Good evening, everybody. What's happening? What's happening? This is your pal, Big Cal. Welcome to the What's Good show. And you see my special guest, my my co-defendant, Special K. She's up there in the corner. We got brother the Russ you can trust, and we have special guest, the Boogeyman. He's getting his audio corrected because he's kind of privileged like that. And we should be joined by this other cool cat, brother Gary Hawkins, because today's topic I want to get it my brothers and sister and discuss self destruction. What's going on with this world? You know, things where we were taught as to prioritize and get things in order. What's happening? You know, but first off, let me let everybody say their what's ups. Special K, you can start off first, my dear. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
Okay,
Hey,
so hey, what you got to say, brother Russ?
It look like everybody done froze.
It seems that way.
I, I,
The Russell is
I'm good. I'm
frozen.
here.
Oh,
Okay, Russ
I'm
is
still
back.
frozen.
no,
No,
not now.
Okay. Okay. I'm good. I'm good. Salute to everyone. Hope everyone is living in good health.
okie dokie, hokey pokey. And what's going on with you, brother Russ? I mean, brother Russ. What's going on with you, Boogie? What's happening, Captain? I don't think he can hear us. So, anyway, as we get into this mix,
Hello?
oh, there you go, there you go. What's going on, my guy?
Man, you know electronic.
Look, he done checked out. So while he corrects his technical difficulty, the conversation I want to get into today, Special K get her opinion and Brother Russ, because I know you're gonna have the facts. You know, um, Bugs, can you hear us, bruh?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, because you're kind of going in and out. Well,
Yeah, I was trying to I wouldn't come through my car, so I had to put on my Bluetooth. So might be a little shaky, but let's try to work it out.
see, that's the thing about us men. We get this new we all this new technology, and we want to try it out and show it off, and it always conks out when we need it.
Well, no, actually, I was at work and I looked up and I took an extra patient, and I looked up and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna have time to get set. So I was just like, let me just get in the car and do it from there, because brother was doing therapy.
Oh, okay.
So
All
yeah,
right.
so I lost track of time. So that's my bad.
That's understood. And I heard a little beep. Yes, and with that little beep,
PD.
the we have our final member of the Fab Five. We're better than the Jacksons and the Lakers. We better than everybody. We better than the Bulls. Everybody.
You guys can hear me good. Good evening, everybody.
Hey,
Yeah, we
Good
hear
monkey.
you.
evening.
Hey, what's going on, my brothers and sisters, my queens and kings? That's what we
Well,
are.
here we go. Today's topic, and I gotta get it. I gotta get it. The Russ you can trust because he's the one who sparked this thought process. Right
All
now,
right.
I saw how they were talking about the government wanting to ban TikTok. All right, whatever. I could care less. However, my issue is how is it that in Louisiana they approved a bill that kids 18 plus can carry a firearm without a permit, without any kind of licensing, permit, or anything. And then looking at the research that even my father provided, Louisiana has been one of the leading states in the nation in homicides for the past 31 years. In 2021, it was number 2 behind, I think, Mississippi. It was over 1,000 murders. But they're going to give the kids guns now instead of books?
Well, what that comes from first, last June, Governor DeSantis in Florida passed a law in Florida that everyone in Florida can carry a gun without a permit, a licensing, all of that. You don't even have to conceal it anymore. So, unfortunately, when you deal with conservative states, their moronic way of thinking is when crime goes up, or if so-called people have guns illegally, the only way to counter that is by you having a gun. So with their way of thinking is if more people have guns, that will deter crime. Statistically, that is a ruse. That has not happened. Look at Texas. Hey, Mary, look at Texas. Everybody and their mother in Texas carry guns. And Texas has high crime as it always has been. It's just like when they came up with the moronic stuff of the death penalty, that it will deter murder. It didn't. As a matter of fact, murder went up. So it shows that having more guns and the death penalty, the electric chair, does not deter what's going to happen.
Yeah. I would understand that. The other thing is, though, it's like you're giving these kids who just learned how to pee straight and how to date or whatever. You're giving them somewhat of a remote control and just say point it at anything.
Well, that's the proof. That's the proof of the stupidity. They can't turn around and say, well, you can go into the military and shoot guns at 18, but in the military, you are trained. You are trained to use that firearm. You are trained when you can and cannot use that firearm. And what's even crazier is that they're allowing this, knowing damn near on a weekly basis, there was a mass shooting in schools and in schools in general.
Wow.
You know?
It's just what is the thinking process? Because
there is no thinking process. What it is when they talk about the Second Amendment and give you more freedom to buy guns, because they are not going to get rid of guns in the United States. So anytime they want to not have serious gun laws and give everyone in the United States freedom to protect themselves, they will always get votes and standing behind them, no matter how much idiocy is involved in it.
Brother Boogie, Monk, y'all got any thoughts on that?
I don't think it has anything to do with protection as far as personal. Ever since, I was little, they've always talked about their either coming or present race war. And I think, and if you look, I saw an article, and this was like 2 or 3 years ago, of a family of 4, and they had enough guns to cover their entire front lawn, put them out, showed them, and had everybody holding guns, even with the ones down there. This ain't got anything about this, man. They are planning for a war, and they believe, which is, you can tell the way they're trying to erase history. They fear the retribution in response to what they did, and they've been planning ever since. This ain't got nothing to do with self-protection or the Second Amendment, because I've heard many Second Amendment scholars and everybody talk about the provision and the right to a well-armed militia and to protect freedom and this, that, and the other. And then here comes one judge and said something based on a comma that based on that comma, that means individual. And that's just BS. I mean, I'm being for real. You know, they're
Well, not
arming
only that,
themselves, planning something. And if you think this got something to do about whatever, they're creating soldiers. Think Trump said, I'm going to, if I get in, I'm going to pardon the hostages. And I've been telling people this since Trump got in office. He is giving people things to indebt them to him so he will have a safety net. Everybody who came in there stupid with guns and did all this other kind of junk, if he pardons them, will be willing to do it again. And if they believe that he's going to have absolute power, they'll do it forever. So, I mean, you know, if you don't get out and exercise your right to keep that idiot and the rest of them cronies out of office, understand you are endorsing a physical war because one side or the other is going to buck up. But yeah, man, I don't think it got anything to do with that. It's just literally they want to keep access to guns easy. So when it's
well,
time to arm, you aren't.
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Whether it's Trump or whether it's Biden, it's both sides of the coin. No matter who's in office, they are not getting rid of guns. Even when they talk about getting rid of guns, it's all talk because when it comes time to get rid of guns, the NRA pays both sides, and the Democrats can't sit up there and just tell you that, well, we're getting rid of guns also. What they do is they tell you we're trying, but the Republicans are stopping us, which is nonsense because over the last 20, 30 years, the Democrats have had all three houses 3 times. And all 3 times they didn't even touch gun control because that's the third rail. It's in the Constitution and nobody wants to touch it. And like you said, it says well-regulated militia. We don't have, when an individual buys a firearm, we are not a well-regulated militia. You know, I mean, if you look at the Second Amendment, because they want to pick and choose what they want. In the Second Amendment, it also says that during wartime, any soldier can come and take over your house and stay in your house. You ain't anybody talking about that. So what it is the whole thing is, like you said, they're gearing up for something, but it's a deflection. The whole deflection is, well, I'm getting guns so I can fight against governmental tyranny. That's complete nonsense. You can take an AR-15, you can take an AK, whatever you want. When the government shows up at your door with tanks, squads, everything else, your little pea shoot is not going to do anything. So that's just an excuse. You know what I mean? What they're gearing up for is what they have been gearing up for. Before January 6th happened, you had the Proud Boys. They went into Minnesota, into that state house, and they took over and tried to kidnap the female governor there. And what that boils down to, which they're not going to come out and say, but I've said this many times. White people's history has always been violent. Every single thing that you could think of throughout the dawn of history that white people have obtained, they have obtained through violence. So that's not going to be anything different. All they do is lie about it. I mean, I'm talking about even back with the Indians when they gave them blankets filled with smallpox and stuff like that. That's the only way that they know. So they will lie and do everything that they have to do and play the victim until they get their agenda fixed, and then they can switch the narrative. So whether they're saying that the narrative is to protect against government tyranny, to protect my household, or whatever it is, they will come up with any excuse. Or now another thing that they're saying is, I'm buying up all these guns before Biden puts in another ban. Biden, first of all, when they put the ban in 1994, when I was a cop in Brooklyn, everyone went out and bought assault rifles because they knew once they put in the ban that they would be grandfathered over. So all this is the NRA and these gun manufacturers. What they do is they talk on the Republican side, telling them to buy guns, and on the Democratic side, they tell them you should try and stop guns so people can run out and buy more guns. So that way, all of these companies can make money. It's all a ploy. That's the biggest difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. Both sides sucker people. The Republicans turn around and they tell people, we have to own the libs. So send us money so we can fight the libs and keep America the way we want it to be. The Democrats sucker people on their side and say, we have to stop the other side from owning us, so send us money. It's all a game. It's all a game.
Well, like I said, as a parent, my issue is they come up with these ploys to get power and stay in power, but the only people who lose are ourselves and our children.
Well, you know what that comes from. The system itself is completely rigged, and because we as a people don't really care so much about local elections, which I've always pressed upon, which is more important than the presidential election. What they do is they come and they gaslight everybody and they stay in office. I saw a stat 2 weeks ago. The people in Congress have a 14% approval rating, which is lower than used car dealers. But they have a 94% reelection rate. If that doesn't tell you something's wrong, then I don't know what to say.
Wow. Like I said, it's crazy.
Well, this whole thing.
I'm lost of words.
What'd you say, Mom?
Yeah. I said, you know what? It's so crazy. Both of the brothers, definitely my cousin, my guy up there spoke truth, man. I mean, I'm lost for words because even in Louisiana, when they passed the law, the governor there, what did the people of that state do to prevent them from even letting that law go through like that? Because it went through. That's one. And they got the movies that's been out. I'm gonna say Purge. You know what that is, right? I see a purge happening here in this country sooner than later. Right. And what we got to do is, again, we lost because, like I said, the local elections. If you don't push that more than the presidential election, we're gonna be in trouble. Number one. And then I like to follow my man from I forgot what state he's from, the NFAC. We need to get on board and really get that going. The Not Fucking Around Coalition. You heard about that, right?
Right.
And then look them up because they are ready, and we're gonna need that. No. We're gonna need that to protect our communities and our families for sure. Because enough about really keep talking. That's what I'm gonna say. Even gun laws, because
I know exactly. Yeah, I know exactly who he is. I have followed him. Right now, he has the CIA and the FBI up his ass so much that they're trying to drain him and his organization financially, so that way they can't do much.
But the thing about it is,
we got to support somebody to support them.
But we got to understand that's not new. During the civil rights movement, people don't understand. They're like, "Oh, it was nonviolence." Let me tell you something. The deacons, I think it's Deacons of or Deacons for Defense, they followed them marches and protected King. King always, and even though they weren't officially part of the movement, they didn't care because they was out there making sure that people lived. But the Deacons for Defense, they were an armed group of folks who followed the civil rights movement around to say, they won't shoot you, but we will. That and we've always had an armed faction around us. The thing about it is we play that part down because we don't want to play down the fact that it was nonviolence. Let me tell you something. If it was just strictly nonviolent, we'd all be gone. Let me tell you something. So, we have to really study the science of revolution and how things work. Like even with Gandhi, everybody talks about how nonviolent Gandhi was, but Gandhi had great influence over the violent factions in India. And when he told them, he'd be like, listen, we can't get anything through nonviolence if you're violent all the time. So if we're making way, I need you to stand down and lower the violence. And if they stop giving us our way and stop listening to nonviolence, then y'all can raise it up. But y'all shut it down when we start making way. And people didn't understand that the nonviolent movement that Gandhi pushed got a lot of support and a lot of complimentary work from the violent one. So we got to understand, it ain't never been just nonviolence and this, that, and the other, and whatever we think, we got this mythology that we can love somebody into taking care of us and love ourselves into salvation. Now you can do that through the Christian theology, but you ain't gonna love yourself to freedom in the human theology. You can love everybody on the planet, and it's still gonna be somebody who robs you, shoots you, and then buries you in the backyard. So, we got to understand what that really is.
The only way, you see, the problem is, and I said this before, we as a people, we're not obtaining power the way that we need to obtain it because we're doing things as backwards. Like I said in the last podcast, when you go to other neighborhoods, right, other demographics, what they do is they take control over the voting in their neighborhoods. They become a voting bloc for that neighborhood. They donate money to the politicians that govern that neighborhood. That's how they get other people to listen. Black people, if we keep trying to jump out there on a national level to gain power, we are going to continue to fail. Because even at this point, on a national level, we're letting other people pick our leaders. The only way that Black people are going to get power is that we control who our leaders are. We take over our neighborhood. Point blank, period. There is no other starting point from that. When you take over your own neighborhoods, and then when your stuff is organized and they see that you're a voting bloc, that's how you get people to listen. And then we help, once we set up that infrastructure, we show the next Black neighborhood, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. No different than the Chinese do it, than the Hispanics do it. Like the blueprint is out there, and that's why they keep leapfrogging over us, because the only thing we're doing is saying we're going to vote and we're going to have marches and scream about stuff. While these other people are putting their money together, they're finding out who that local politician is. I guarantee you, if I ask 90% of Black people in their own neighborhood, who's the politician that governs your neighborhood, they have no idea.
They don't know who the police chief is.
Right, and that's insane. But once you start saying, okay, this person is running for office, let's have a meeting with this person, and you tell this person, listen, this is what we want. We're willing to back financially and as far as our votes, if you can get this accomplished, and we're holding everyone accountable. If you're going to bullshit us and you're not going to get it done, you will never get our vote again. And this is what we want. And it's like I said in the last podcast, if you have an entire neighborhood that all they do is yell and complain and march, and if you have me in a neighborhood with 9 of my friends, if we all donated $100 each, which is $1,000, and went to the politician in our neighborhood, who do you think he's going to listen to? Somebody that only has 10 votes but gave him $1,000, or somebody who's just going to complain and maybe or maybe not vote for him? He's going to listen to whoever's lining his pockets. And every other community understands that except our community. And this is why every constituency that comes in leapfrogs over us.
Well, I want to use that. Sorry to cut you off, Brother Russell. I want to use that as a segue to another point that I'd like to address. And I got Monkey D, who is driving this vehicle, because he is organizing he's putting together a men's organization. They have a meeting this Saturday, and basically for brothers to reclaim their positions in life, heads of the households, leaders of their community, because we can't talk about it if we ain't doing nothing about it. So
exactly.
With that being said, brother, Gary, what you got to say with that?
Yeah, good. Well, you can let Russ. What you going to say, Russ?
I was going to say,
I spoke to him today. Because spoke earlier about that, right? Yeah.
Yes, we did. So when you were talking about being leaders of your household, I've spoken about this many times as well. There's a lot of things with Black women nowadays that are going astray and everything else, and they're looking for leaders. But enough of us men aren't leading. So this is a good step, because you can't ask anyone to follow you just because you got a penis between your legs. You have to give these women a reason to follow you. You know what I mean? So once we get our shit together as a collective and take over our community, then Black women will be more apt because a lot of us, we sit back and we see a lot of our black women run into the government as their husbands slash fathers, whatever that case may be, right? And we can complain about that, but at the end of the day, what's the alternative that we're offering them as men? Because the only thing we're offering them is to make them a baby mama and then skate on to the next.
Mm.
You have a lot of us because there's accountability on both sides. You know what I mean? It takes two people to make somebody pregnant, but yes, the woman is the only one that can control if that baby's born. But at the end of the day, we have to control our seeds also because you can't sit up there and say, I want a seed, because I see a lot of guys walking around saying, I want a seed. But when you ask them questions after that, okay, now that you have a seed, what can you teach him? How can you make him a conductive part of society, whether you're with the mother or not? And that's where it all falls apart because they're only looking for I want to see and don't have a damn thing for themselves or anything to teach their kids. So we have to get our shit together mentally, as far as putting our community back together. Lead by example. Give these women a reason to follow us. And I'm not saying that's all of us, because a lot of us do lead, but not enough of us.
Right, right.
Well,
Yeah, so
as you
just
said, as you said that, because too many of us have
excuse me.
become comfortable in just sitting on our behinds and complaining after the fact, being what they say
Exactly.
reactionary. We react to the
Mm.
situation instead of helping to organize the movement.
Right.
We can't complain after the fact.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have to be
that's
proactive.
that's yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason why I'm starting this thing now, man. I had this idea back in '86, and we've been on the streets. We've seen a lot of things, and it's kind of the men always still fell to the wayside, even though it was there. But now it's time to act and move, and we're gonna get together and try to get our brothers on the mentally, spiritually, and physical level first, so we can deal with everything around us. And we're not taking nothing from away from any of the men. We just want to make sure that where we at in this life right now, how far you want to go with it, so we can go out and help our sisters and our brothers get some property that we're going to actually own, have somewhere to go just in case. We're working on those things, first, and that's going to be the starting point of that. Once we get together and keep meeting, everything else along will come with it. Everything that we need to do in life will come with it. We just got to be
Well,
committed and stay together. That's the main thing as well.
well,
A
I
lot of
hope when
brothers
y'all,
always say so.
well, I hope when y'all
Yeah.
have this meeting, y'all also address y'all's health issues because a lot of y'all don't go to the doctor
Yeah.
till it's too late.
Oh yeah, all that's gonna be included, man. I got a list of things, but I didn't want to throw everything out now. But for sure, Karen, our health, life issues. I got life coaches. I got everybody that's coming, that's involved. Everybody's have a different position or skill set or something they can do or offer to us that we're gonna use it. It's like resources and networking. Everybody has something that they can bring to us and to bring out to our communities to make it work. We just got to put it to use. Health, of course, is number one, and their families number two. And like I said, we're going to talk about their mental, their health, and their spiritual. Wow, just to see where they at, so we can just move forward on the same kind of page. Of course, we're going to have disagreements and agree to disagree on certain things, of course. But the main thing is really just getting us together and really staying together, because we heard the talk. Black folks don't stick together. They don't get along with each other. La 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 la. We heard that, and I'm tired of hearing that. So I know I got a crew that can work together, which I do have now, and we staying together and we moving. We're not even talking about it anymore. We already started. We're going to finalize a lot of stuff this week, and we're going to take it one day at a time. But we moving. We moving towards that goal.
Well, I want to piggyback on that because
Yeah.
and getting with Dr. Rucker and Brother Russ, because I know between the two of you, because you are all of y'all are deep thinkers. But this is something is you and you too, is you too, Monk. In your travels, we as men, we need to address our fears. And when I say address our fears, the things that concern us, like we don't want to look like a punk. We don't want to seem like we soft. We don't want this one saying that. We don't want all the things where we are our pride and ego often causes us to fall victim to our own idiocy. Such as Karen said, our health. We don't want to go to the doctor because I don't want people knowing I got this or this is wrong or think that. I don't want to talk about this to my boys. We don't address our personal issues because we don't want to be thought less manly or what have you, that we end up succumbing to illness, financial problems, whatever. We don't deal with it until the apple cart is damn near fell off the cliff.
Right.
So, we can't ask a person or people can't help us if we don't know what's going on. So that's why I say about the thought of fear, getting rid of that fear of expressing our emotions or situations, so that as a community, as brothers, we can stand together, stand strong, and keep our brothers intact and right. Y'all agree with that?
Yeah, that sounds pretty up there, and that's always been, and I think that's always been a factor anyway with our community, especially the men, because I'm experiencing a lot of stuff, man, and that I knew of, and how you say the haters and the men that's scared to admit to their health and all kinds of things going on, man. I'm going down with the older men than
Lost your audio, brother.
He might be on mute.
No, he's not on mute. He might have hit mute on his own.
No, that's what I'm saying. He might have hit it by mistake.
Yeah.
Because he's steady talking.
Yeah, he doesn't hear himself.
That a lot now. I really am. I'm starting to see a lot of guys just run away because, I know. I'm like me. I go to my doctors. I do everything. I'm a happy-go-lucky person. I respect everybody. I don't care what you got or don't have, man. I don't judge. I mean, I wish everybody could be on that page. We could move faster if that was the case. But a lot of us are not. You made a good point, Cal.
All right. Well, thank you, bro. But your audio went out. We missed some of what you said, but we got the gist of it, my guy.
So I am know some kind of way.
Your audio had dropped out.
I think one of the things also is a lot of us need to humble ourselves and put our egos to the side. I notice when I look at other groups, they get together, they talk about money, they talk about financial planning in case someone dies and all of that. Our people don't ever want to talk about that. They never want to talk about money, but they want to pretend that they have more than they actually have. They try and buy things to impress other people that are just as broke as they are. And I sit back and I have other communities that I deal with, and I listen to what they speak to. And we as a people aren't talking about any of that, any of it.
Sorry, bro.
So.
Brother Boogie, in your practice, do you often come across a lot of men who have those ego issues or whatever that they can't express where they are physically and mentally? Did you hear me, sir?
You were going, you have men dealing with ego issues.
Yeah,
you said you wanted to know about
Well, I was saying, do you come?
Oh, one of the main.
Go ahead.
One of the main issues you come across, at least in my experience, dealing with men in general and black men in specific, is ego perception and the reaction to it. I mean, it's a whole lot of brothers who come in and they're dealing with just as much what to do as how they will be perceived or are perceived in doing it. And a lot of times it's just as important to them. Matter of fact, a lot of times they have problems separating.
Hmm.
You know, you could be talking to some coach and that comes. What will people think? And it's just like, who cares? But you know, we're conditioned to think about what people think, especially people of color. Black folks, we're conditioned. Shoot, I know I was conditioned from the first day I stepped in church and I was cognizant of people's opinions. Hey, dress like somebody, you got to dress better so, you know, they think somebody loves you. You can't go out like that. It's going to look bad. What are people going to think when you see this? All of this is teaching us to value the appearance and the reaction of other people and to judge our behavior and to regulate our behaviors on it. And what we think about ourselves based on people's reactions. And then it gets exacerbated along the lines of gender. Because put it this way, and I don't know, with all the new stuff going on with the gender fluidity and all this other kind of stuff, I haven't seen any studies dealing with that, but there were old studies that showed that by the age of 7, boys and girls with 100% accuracy could tell you the prescribed and proscribed rules based on gender with 100% accuracy. In other words, at age 7, children in America could tell you what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do based on your gender. And they could do that with 100% accuracy. So now you imagine all of the experiences being piled on that. Then now you're a grown person. Hopefully you're grown, or at least hopefully matured, but you still dealing with all of this weight about what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. And knowing there could be societal backlash because of it. Think of all of the public relationship arguments that are going on. Think of Keke Palmer and the dude, I guess they ain't together anymore, when she was at the Usher concert. It was so much back and forth about what he shouldn't have said, what she did, and all of them were speaking from general rules that had nothing to do with the rules they set up because nobody asked them crap. But everybody judged them based on their relationships and manhood and womanhood work. To the point where they were answering and
I think his audio went out. I think
he's frozen.
Okay, so I was going to jump in and say after he said what he said. One of the other biggest issues that I find prevalent in our community as well is I've looked at statistics, and it also says that over 80% of criminals, people dealing with depression and other issues like that, and drug abuse come from single mother homes. That goes back to what I was talking about earlier as far as men running around and making seed. You have so many of these Black boys growing up in single mother homes with no father figure roles that unfortunately they're learning, like a lot of women, to act emotional first. And if they don't see a lot of male figures of how they're supposed to act, they're reacting out of emotion first. And that's a big issue in our community with so many of these young kids coming up. They're not taught to think like men with logic first. And acting emotional and trying to solve your problems and stuff off of emotion tends up to bring up on these negative issues. So that's something else that has to be addressed in, including with what Boogie said.
Well, brother Monk.
Well, I also want to interject and say, us as women, to piggyback on what Boogie said, all that came about with Keke Palmer and her boyfriend is because of this. Not even what Usher did, it's just the way she was dressed. And I agree with him. But at the end of the day, she knew what she was wearing. And that's social media for you. That's social media for you.
Yeah,
Us
but it's
as
not.
women back in the days, we wouldn't dare come out dressed like that.
Yeah, but
You
you know what
know,
that comes from as well.
you always what a man ain't got to see what you have until I guess when you're in a relationship, married or whatever, whatever. We have gotten so comfortable in allowing, and men don't take this the wrong way, but I'm just gonna put it out there. Some women have got so comfortable in allowing men to disrespect them, but you can't get mad at you men because of the things we do. They have that saying, well, I can wear what I want to wear, or no means no, and this and that and that. But you know the mindset of some men, you can't get mad at them. Like the other day, I looked on social media, this young girl had to be about 22 or 23, had a 1-year-old baby sitting in a high chair, and she's putting a weave in the baby's head, gluing this weave in the baby's head and videotaping this. And then when she finished with the baby's hair, the baby weave was so long. And my whole thing is, what is it that's going on where these women have to put their babies on display and make them growner than what they are? That baby's
Well, you
head,
know,
the middle of their head and stuff is still soft. Then you take now when you take the weave out, you're gonna be ripping the baby's scalp. I mean, I'm telling you, these young ladies, everybody just to me, everybody just done got comfortable.
you know
They done
what the
got
problem is
comfortable,
also. You know
you
what the
know,
problem is also.
and they don't have nobody. And then when you want to mentor them, it goes in one ear out the other. But you still don't give up though, because there'll
You
be
know when
1 out of 5 that will listen to you. They will listen to you. But it's just nothing. Like I was sharing with Russell the other day and Cal. Nothing. I mean, nothing surprises me anymore. What our people do, not even our people do. And I'm gonna say this real quick. Even our celebrities, the ones that I admire, that I see singing and all that, I'm gonna tell you something. The way they are dressing, they in their 50s and their 60s, thinking they 20 when they dressing, not knowing really how they look when they do them close-up shots on them. Like, come on now. But then you get mad when these girls, what y'all call a gorilla and Sexy Red and all that, do what they do because we think it's cute. It ain't cute. It ain't cute at all. And when you speak up, then you're wrong or you're hating or you this or you that. No, where's your morals as? Where is your morals as a woman? Where's your morals as a man? Well, we're starting to allow all this to take part. But guess what? And I don't know if y'all never ever saw this. I have not yet seen a white person, an Indian person, any other race display the way that they dress on stage or even on the awards, the way we come out, we expose everything. You name one white person you see come out with a thong on or they titties out or doing music videos where they displaying themselves. And the white no, listen, the white women that do it, they don't even have no butt on no tits, so you don't even look at them. You don't even look at them. But I'm saying the ones that have bodies and this and that, I haven't seen one yet. I haven't seen one yet. And even now,
well,
the men are dressing with tight pants and it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
speaking
It's just crazy.
speaking of the Kiki Palmer situation, I think the biggest problem with that Kiki Palmer situation is hypergamy. And most women, if you look at the scales, and Boogie can talk about this also as far as relationships, the dynamics, the power and control module, the circle, and all of the other stuff. Men, men have no problem dating across and dating down because men look for different things in relationships than women do. Women look to date across and up. Hypergamy wants women to always date up. And this is why, on the average, not all, on the average, especially in the long term, if a woman is making a lot more money than a man, she has a different respect for him than if he made a lot more than her. That's why I was telling some friends of mine, always have your own shit. Don't be moving into a woman's place. Have your own stuff, because I've seen many guys move into a woman's spot, pay bills and everything else, and at the end of the day, she lost respect for him because it was her shit. And at any time, she can toss you out or whatever it is. But I've seen a lot of men that when they hold this shit down and they got their own place, they get a whole different type of respect from women. That's just based upon what I know and from life experiences of what I've seen, and it's not just anecdotal, you know. But Boogie could probably speak more to that. But at the same time, going back to what I was saying earlier, when you own your own stuff and you stand on your business, that is how you get a woman to see you as a leader. By you running around making babies and moving in with her and living off of her stuff like that, she will never see you as a leader.
Well, that again goes back to what Monkey D, what he's doing, because a program, and we need a whole lot more programs for these young boys to get to see men, not the TV versions, not the rap versions. See real men with their daily functions, getting up, going to work, coming home, handling their business. You know, the different values that are not that are part of reality. That's why a lot of these clowns, when they can't pay a bill, they bug out, want to go get the gun and go rob somebody. No, how about you go fill out a damn application and get a better job? How about you don't go buy those new Jordans because you realize that you were going to be short on the electric bill? How about you make sure, little Joey did his homework. He wasn't sitting there trying to figure out the new how to play the game on the PS5. If you don't work with your kids, you can't be mad at how the kids turn out.
Or how about instead of buying those Jordans, you save that money to the side, teach your kids financial literacy to how to take that money from the Jordans and triple it and build and build capital. My friends and I always laugh and joke and say black boys turned around when they took James Evans off TV and put Bill Cosby on. They need more black male role models on TV like James Evans, the father from Good Times.
Yeah, because when you look at it, and this might just be Big Cal thinking. The fact is, for years we thought cats on the corner was so rugged, tough, get down, put in that hard work. Those were the punks. Look at your father, who gets out there and grinds. If you're blessed to have that man in your life, who might grind 8, 9, 10-hour shifts, come home and put more work in at the house, doing a job he don't like. Then no man said, "Oh, I want to clean shit off the subway chairs." No man, that was no man's plan when he was going to school. Men had all kinds of dreams of being something different. But when he had that child, he had to decide, I'm either going to take my pride, put it to the side, and make sure my kids eat, or I'm going to hit the streets and get what I want. The real man put his pride to the side and make sure those kids had.
Well, if you don't be a father to your son, the gangs will.
Exactly. They talking about my peeps shit, my peeps, my man's in them because we was doing this lick and blah 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 blah. And now your man's is in a body bag, and you looking at 5 to 15 or 25 to life because you ain't no punk. You see, and that's where we as men, especially men of color, we have to get back on the high horse and snatch these kids up and let them know, man, stop going the punk bullshit route. Be a father, not just a statistic.
Yeah, you know what, Cal, too? We have a boy, this is definitely deep, man. We have a lot of work that still need to be done, right? But in the process, I be saying I move in silence, but I move. I've been talking to these same young characters, and this is what we got to do, all of us collectively, women too. And some folks might not say it, and the folks that do say it know what I've been doing quietly, because I talk to those gangbangers, those guys on the streets every other day when I'm in passing to my community, and I pull them to the side and get them straight, man. I don't help a lot of brothers already, because this is what we got to do. Instead of keep talking about it, we really got to move and catch them one at a time, two at a time. I don't got guys in my shelter and show them how you come in the system. We're going to get you a place to live, because these guys I was talking to was on the streets, homeless. And I said, listen, they giving it to these folks now coming to this country. We should have been on the bandwagon. This is what I've been telling my homies, that, yo, come in here, get that stuff so you can have a place to live and start to work, right? And then also with employment. And then just talking to them on the spiritual side. You know what I'm saying? Come to my church one day so you can just hear the word for yourself. You ain't got to stay. I mean, just so you can get yourself back on track. But this is what I'm doing as a person for my people every day. Every day. So we got to keep moving in that way. This is why now I'm putting the brothers together so we can just, get together and collectively go through the community slowly. We're going to be as a servant to organizations, to churches, to our local politicians. Like you said, Russ, we're going to hit them in the head, and we're going to put money to the side, to put money in their pocket, and let them know where we at and where we stand at. And when I need your help, this is what I need you to do. And when you need our help, this is what we're going to do for you. As long as you're giving us back and forth, we have to put that out there instead of keep, either talking about it or even looking at it. We have to put it out there. And I'm doing it
Well,
slowly,
this is
but,
yeah.
this is what we had to do,
You're
This is
doing something.
something.
Yeah.
This is something else. This is something also that I've spoken about for like over the last 30 years. Even when I was a cop in Queensbridge houses, I used to mentor 12 kids in Queensbridge houses, right? Then and
To that.
I was teaching them financial literacy. I was teaching them what it takes to buy a house. I was teaching them banking. One of them I was teaching electrical. Another one I was teaching plumbing, stuff like that. And for the longest time, I always said we need to start teaching our young black kids vocations, things that are not going to be easily outsourced, especially even more prevalent now with AI. They need to learn electrical work. They need to learn plumbing. They need to learn craftsman things to use with their
That's
hands,
right.
because the Hawkins family motto, my family motto, was always walk with God and a tool.
That's
So
right.
we've always believed if you know how to use your hands and your brain, you will always have food on the table. And
That's right.
that's what I've always believed. That's how I've always lived. But I've always said this, that if we get our neighborhoods together, we can start pressing these politicians to put vocational schools or tradesman shops in our neighborhoods to teach these young black kids. Because these young black kids right now, the shit that they're learning in school is boring, number one. And
That's right.
number two, all they have outside of that is the internet, getting high, and other dumb shit. And the thing is, they don't start getting serious about education, the ones that do, until they get older towards college and everything else. But if you grab them when they're like in the seventh and eighth grade, and you start developing them and teaching them a vocation or teaching them financial literacy or something different, it makes a world of a difference. And this is why we need to start teaching these kids vocations in our communities. But all of that, and I say this until I'm blue in the face, none of that can happen until we get our shit together in our community. Because right now, the thinking is backwards. Right now, we will go and ask the president to put vocational schools in our community. He is not the one to ask. You talk to school board members, you talk to the politicians that control your neighborhoods, that funnel the money into your neighborhood, whether it's council people, um, aldermen, things like that. And you throw your weight behind them on a local level. And that is how you get vocation things in your neighborhood. When I lived out on Long Island, these white people said we want vocational schools to teach our kids trade. And you know what they did? They built schools. They call them BOSEs. So if you go on Long Island to all those schools that are called BOSEs, they're teaching them how to be electricians, how to be plumbers, how to be mechanics, and all of that. And all it was is them going and telling these politicians, this is what we want. You stand behind us, we'll stand behind you. And they get it done. because they're not just voting and marching and screaming about stuff. When that politician has a meeting, he knows that they're showing up, they're going to contribute. You can call it whatever you want. You are buying that politician. And I get tired. I sit back for over 30 years saying the same thing. Like I said, I've never been in any party affiliation since I was 18 years old. I've been no party affiliation because I saw both sides were just full of it. Because I sat back and watched what my parents went through in the 60s, grandparents in the 40s, 50s, and everything else. And black people have not made any advancements since then as far as leapfrogging over other people. No matter what advancements we make, we're in last place. And
That's
now,
right.
now with the migrants coming in, like I was telling Cal before, Tyson Food, I tell these black people, y'all better stop saying bring these migrants in because when they bring the migrants in, they're replacing you as far as jobs. Tyson's Food is being boycotted right now. They fired 1,300 workers and replaced them with 42,000 migrants. 42,000. So I put a list on Facebook of Tyson Food and all of the companies that they own. And people are boycotting. Because guess what? If Tyson Food gets away with it, they're going to replace all of these people in droves. And the biggest communities that are going to get hit are Black and Latino communities. But they
That's
want to
right.
sell you on. They want to sell you on. Oh, they have a right to be here and all of that. You notice that they're changing laws. They won't change laws for you unless it's bad. But they are changing laws to get these people in here so they can get them jobs. Not only that, not only is Tyson Foods hiring the 42,000 migrants, they're paying them $16.50 an hour, and they're paying for immigration attorneys for them. And the crazy thing is, on a stupid level, because they're not looking at the big picture, that's going to affect the economy also. Because these people are coming here and they're working and they're sending their money back home to a different country.
Hmm.
At least Black people and Latino people are working here, they're spending their money here, and they're stimulating the economy.
Well, I mean,
That's
the
right.
thing is, as I said, the old statement, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can give a fool a jewel, but you can't make him think. And
Hmm.
what's happening is people see the writing on the wall. They see what's going right, they see what's going wrong, but they're taking no actions to correct it. And as you said, Brother Russell, if we do not create become a force to be reckoned with in our own communities, you know, then we're just flies on the wall watching things go down
Hmm.
because we
Yeah,
have no true relevance.
unfortunately, and you guys heard me talking about this over the last 3 years when you heard me talk about BRICS. The economy in the United States later on this year is going belly up. It's already in recession, but they're lying to you guys, pretending that it's not, because then that will create a hysteria. But banks are trying to get a bank bail in. They're taking people's money and things like that. And that's why I press upon people to learn farming, save money, put stuff to the side, start stocking up on food, because BRICS just released 2 days ago their own currency. The United States dollar as a world reserve currency is no longer going
Hmm.
to be within the next month or two. And the United States is going to start financially being like a third world country. And the people that are going to survive are the people that close ranks in their communities. And if black people don't listen and keep running around like the way we're doing, when this shit happens, it's going to look like the Walking Dead. We're going to be running around
Hmm.
disorganized, getting killed, and everything else. But everybody else is closing ranks in their community. And why? Because we chose not to listen.
That's right.
Bugs,
And it's
you're kind
crazy.
of
I
quiet.
seen firsthand, but it's deep. Not saying firsthand, just to back up Russell, the immigrants, because I'm in the shelter system. Thank God I'm there to see it. But it's funny how the governor of this state issued. I don't even just think it's the governor, right? But they go sign up for their asylum, which is not going. They ain't going to never probably get for 10, 15 years, right? But they giving them social security cards and a working visa, not a working visa, a working authorization permit card, which they call them working papers. but they got a social security number. They're not documented at all in this country. And they're coming to me in my building. Look what I got. Look what I got. I can get a job. I can get a job because they said so. And they really can't, because the language, one, is a problem. They don't speak the language. And number two, they're not documented. And if you own a business that got companies, you know you can't even use that social security because it's not going anywhere for you to get your money back to companies. So I dealt with the companies to find out about that card. And they told me firsthand that we don't know what to do with that card. They can't even deal with it, but they're giving it to them. They're giving it to them right now, man. I'm like, wow. And on that social security card, it's not like ours. On the front of it, they got for employment only. And they got it for certain groups. The other groups got not for employment, but they're giving them that card still. Can y'all explain what that is about? My man, Boogie,
I can tell
explain
you.
that if you heard about
Oh.
that. That's crazy. I don't, anybody, you two of us, I mean, it's crazy. But this is what they're doing now.
I can tell you what they're doing. They're giving them all of this. First of all, under legal terms, the only people that are coming over here that can technically seek asylum is Haiti. All of these other countries aren't doing it legally, but the United States is accepting it. Here's the game that they're playing. They see that they lost the black vote. It went down from 93% down to 60, and they know without black people, they can't win. So they're bringing immigrants in. They're giving them money. They're giving them all of this stuff, giving them jobs. So that way, when election time come around, they can say, "See, this is what the Democrats gave you, and now we're going to give you the opportunity to vote." So they're trying to replace the black vote. That's what.
Right,
That's the bigger picture. That's the bigger picture of what that's all about.
right. But Russ, I
The
say
whole
this
thing
though,
in a
not
nutshell.
now. Right, everybody, I think not everybody, but let me tell you, all of us coming here are not getting that service at all that we think they're getting. Like, we got to kick him out of my spot every 30 days, right back to the streets, and that's it. They're not getting everything you thinking the government is giving them. They're really
Well, no,
not.
just
Now,
recently,
only
no,
person they getting
the
something is
colored
the ones,
ones.
right.
I'm sorry, no, the colored ones aren't. But the ones coming from Ukraine and coming from those white countries, they're getting a lot more than you think.
Oh no, the Ukrainians. That's what I was going to say. They definitely get them, but we don't see it. See that? We don't see it, and we don't see them. They're not going to mention
Yeah,
that.
you
But
don't
you're right.
see
The
it.
Ukrainians are right. The other
Right,
ones
you
that's
don't
here
see it.
and not getting
Right,
anything.
right. You don't see it because they want to throw the blackface on the TV, the optics of that. And
Yeah,
while I mean, they use the same optics as far as welfare, right? More white
right.
people are on welfare than black people, but whenever they show welfare on the news, they always find a black person to step on camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when a black person step on camera because they're stupidly like, "Oh, I'm going to be on TV." Yeah, they're using you optically to make it look like black people are the only ones on the service, and black people
Right.
continually fall for that. I guarantee you that if I walked out to a neighborhood where it was all white people, and I said, "You know what? I'm from the news, and we want to interview white people on welfare," I couldn't find one person to step up to the camera.
That ain't gonna happen.
No,
And you
That's
know
so
the
very
media
true.
is control. Yeah, yeah. We can't do nothing about it because you know who controls the media. The media put it out there all day long. We gotta, we don't control that at all.
I know, but what we
That's
can
very true.
control is not.
But fellas, we
But
got to
what
get
we
ready to
can
wrap this
control,
up, man.
yeah, I'm sorry. What we can control is not stepping onto
All
camera.
right.
They're not forcing you to step on
Yeah,
camera. You know what I
that's
mean?
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, Russ.
All right,
So we
Cal.
got to get ready to wrap this shit up, y'all. But I want to thank y'all for your time, brother Russell, Monkey
Welcome,
D, Boogie Man, Special K.
Boogie Boogie.
I want to thank y'all for this moment because the best gift you can give anybody, most precious gift you can give anybody is a moment of your time because you can't get that back. And I thank y'all.
What's Boogie?
And
What's Boogie real name? Real quick. You said call him Boogie. What? That's his name, Boogie. Where you
no,
go? I
Anthony
like
Anthony
that.
Rucker.
Rucker. Anthony
Oh, I like
Rucker.
that. Anthony Rucker. Cool Boogie. You like it, man.
Well, he spoken word poet. He won at the Apollo. He's written
Okay.
a couple of books. He's got his doctorate, psychology. Amazing
That's
poet and
cool.
good brother.
He's very accomplished. That's good.
And so,
There you go. I
and
like
like I
that. I
said,
look him up.
That's why the What's Good show is about putting good minds together to go in a positive direction. No
Well,
negativity.
I also got my documentary and jokes.
See, there you go.
and my one-liners.
See, and you know
There
where
you go, Karen.
that
You
would
had those for years.
so But as we gotta wrap this one up, y'all, I want to thank y'all for your time. And when y'all got an idea, voice your opinion. Because the most precious, the only time you lose, how they say, the only stupid question is the one that's not asked.
Right.
So, with that being said, let's keep it up, keep it going, keep these thoughts in the process. We're gonna reach somebody, and maybe make a difference in somebody's life. All right, y'all. So we're gonna see y'all
brothers.
again on the What's
See you
Good
soon.
show. Here
Thank
on
y'all.
UNETV. And as
You're
we
welcome.
wrap it up,
Welcome.
hey.
All right, peace.
Hey.
Karen, the queen. All right, Russ, we talk, y'all.
All right, y'all.